Hey guys, Cameron with Savium Reviews here, and I'm here to give you the latest comic book movie review. This is the review of The Suicide Squad. This movie was directed by James Gunn, the same director behind Super and Guardians of the Galaxy Volumes 1 and 2. It stars Margot Robbie, Joel Kinnaman, and Viola Davis in returning roles, but we have some newcomers here with John Cena, Idris Elba, Alice Braga, and Sylvester Stallone. I'm going to give you the story without spoiling anything, the things that I liked, the things that I didn't like, and my overall score, so stay tuned. Before we continue, I want to thank you guys for clicking on this video. It means a whole lot to me. If you want to do me a huge favor, hit that like and subscribe button because it definitely helps out this channel, and I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs this year. Also, if you're a fan of this sort of thing and you want to know as soon as I put anything up on YouTube, hit that notification bell. You'll know as soon as I upload. As I said before, The Suicide Squad takes place after the events of the original Suicide Squad movie. Not everybody returns. Will Smith does not return. There are a couple of other characters that were in the previous movie that don't come back, like the Enchantress, that sort of thing. But we have a completely new and a very diverse cast that comes in to fill in those shoes. Amanda Waller has a mission that needs to be carried out, and this is a super hush-hush. Nobody needs to know anything about this mission. So what does she do? She calls upon the most dangerous people that literally have nothing to lose. The Suicide Squad, or as they like to be called, Task Force X. Of course, these missions are not the missions that the U.S. military, where, they have families to go home to. These are the ones that are like the worst of the worst circumstances. And so it's up to Task Force X to carry out this mission and possibly make it home so they can get some time taken off of their jail sentences. Now, I really left a crap ton out of the story synopsis. Like, I didn't talk about specific characters, I didn't talk about the mission, what they're apt to do, and there are trailers where you can kind of pick up some of this. But in all honesty, it really helps to go into this movie not knowing anything about the plot. Now, you can know some about the characters. Specifically, you can know about the DC characters, but even I didn't know about all of them. And it's really not necessary to know about all of them. You will get the gist of the important ones as you're watching the movie. So I want to talk about the things that I liked. That is not a bad sign. That's just, there's so much. There's so much to like. So I'm going to start at the things that I wouldn't normally start at. James Gunn. James Gunn directed this movie, and this is, as I said, off the heels of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I didn't know how much I was going to like this movie, but the way that he put everything together here, it was nothing less than a freaking masterpiece. And I was not expected to say this about the Suicide Squad, but James Gunn did a fantastic job, as he's shown in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie and this movie. He can take a bunch of characters that most people have no clue who they are, put them in a situation where they have to band together and create absolute cinematic gold. This is, in my opinion, this is a business card that says, if you want a good movie, pay me money. It's that fantastic. So let's talk about some characters. The first character here is Bloodsport. He is kind of like the replacement for Will Smith's Deadshot. And he's got a daughter, and literally, that's what he is. Likeable enough. I didn't find anything inherently wrong with the character. He does share a lot of similarities to John Cena's character, Peacemaker. But their motivations are completely different. And I appreciate the fact that they had two characters with pretty much the same exact things bringing to the table as far as abilities, but completely separate motivations. I really like that. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, I think this is her best Harley Quinn role, even though Birds of Prey came out last year. I really wasn't in love with the way the character was written. The way that she was played was great. But this Harley Quinn, yes, she's still crazy, but she's crazy good in this. Like, I think this is the best portrayal, in my opinion. Like, I watched the screen. There's one scene that I watched and I was just like, oh my God, this is fantastic. Something I never said in Birds of Prey. There are some other characters that we're introduced to, some newcomers like Ratcatcher 2 and Polka Dot Man that we definitely get to know, and I really enjoyed their characters. There's also King Shark, even though he's never called King Shark in this. He's called Nanaue, but he's great. I really like what Sylvester Stallone brought to the table. There are some amazing fight sequences. Not every fight sequence is amazing, but not a single fight sequence disappoints. As I said before, the Harley sequence, which I don't want to give away, is just fantastic. There are some moments where Bloodsport and Peacemaker are clearing areas, and it's really great to watch. There are even some good sequences with Polka Dot Man. Yeah, I didn't think that I was going to have those words exit my mouth, but here we are. Everyone gets a chance to shine. And I go to the story last. And this is where I talk about the story. And normally I start with the story because it's the most important thing here. This is no exception, but I'm starting with the story. I'm ending with the story, rather, because this story might be one of the most well put together, convoluted messes that I've ever seen. Like, there are so many thousands of ways that this story could go sideways and not make any sense. It's perfect. And I hate saying that a story is perfect because I'm not going to give it a 40 out of 40. But when I tell you how well it's put together, trust me, as a Marvel fanboy, I'm not showing any bias here. I'm telling you how well this movie comes on the screen. Visually speaking, and this is where I'm going to start coming with some negatives. Visually speaking, there are a lot of great looking things here, but the end boss, so to speak, doesn't look as great as everything else. That is a small nitpick, okay? I will say that the thing that they fight at the end is a very classic DC villain. And I will also say that it doesn't get as much time on the screen as I thought that it was going to get. Satisfying as it is, I could have dealt with maybe 2 more minutes. Maybe 2 more minutes. Also, the movement doesn't feel as it has like real gravity in the world at certain times. Now, that is me, once again, being super nitpicky. The only other nitpick that I have with the movie is that I wasn't in love with every single musical selection. That is a personal thing. That has nothing to do with taking away from the story, which is the most important thing about this. And so this is where I get into the score. And I was super conflicted. I was trying to figure out what is a fair score, what is a score that I would be proud of, that I wouldn't have to backtrack. And I said, 94 sounds about right. The story is absolutely pitch perfect. The only thing that I would take away from the story is the script maybe not have so much profanity. Like, there were maybe 1 or 2 points where it was a bit much. But other than that, boom, this is a fantastic outing, especially for a comic book movie. Everybody that acts puts in a great performance, from Idris all the way down to Polka Dot Man. Everybody is fantastic. And as I said before, the visuals look great, although there were some things about the last person that Task Force X fights that may be felt not as real, but when you're understanding what this thing is, I'm being super nitpicky. So it is just me finding every single critical thing that I can. But what could have gone wrong? James Gunn found it, fixed it, and put in a phenomenal, I use that word a lot, but I am not exaggerating here, a phenomenal job on this movie. If you have HBO Max, stop watching this video and go watch The Suicide Squad. If you are fully vaccinated, still mask up, but go to the movie theaters. This movie is worth your money on the big screen. If you want to watch it with friends who are or are not comic book fans, you're going to love it. I have only given 2 other movies a score above a 90. This is the real deal. So that's my review of The Suicide Squad. Tell me what you guys thought about it in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel and share this with your friends. As always, this is Cameron with TV and Reviews. We'll see you next time.